Hello everyone, this is Planckera, and welcome to my universe. So, it is time to start a new picture, and oh boy, is blank canvas scary. Always is, but that's alright. I only have a super vague conception for this one right now, so let's see if I can make that a little bit more specific. I'm gonna scribble for a second here. Admittedly, today is the first day in a long time where I was having a really hard time getting started this morning when I was doing the daily Inktober drawing. So, having a hard time getting started. I'm a bit less in the mood to draw than usual, so that's a good time to just, I don't know, draw some nice spirals. Anywho, yeah, I guess it's just time to start with the usual things. I like to start on neutral gray. And then from there, I'll kind of start trying to figure out what I want to do here. And that's, as always, going to be just figuring out the general energy of the piece, and then I'll go from there. Let me see. There we go. My music is a little bit loud in my ears, so I need to turn that down. There we go. But that feels better. Okay. Let me see, do I get a color swatch here? I get something close enough. Cool. I just always like to be careful when there's shading involved to make sure I get the right color, but fortunately, this one, not shaded, so I get nice, lovely base colors. Okay. So as always, just kind of picturing things out in my head, and I think I know roughly where I want this starting part to go at least, so, oh yeah. And my first general idea was very much something stained glass, something, almost pseudo-religious looking, kind of, fit in with the lore there of her belief that humans bow down to time and that kind of thing. I like being a little bit silly with these things, so that seems like an okay place to start. So that is one thing where this can be good or bad depending on what you're going for, but being extremely symmetrical, like perfectly symmetrical, can give an image a little bit of a religious feel. So in that case, that's what I'm going for here. So I think I want the head to be a little bit bigger, so I'm going to make this wider. So I will be very much doing that. So I'll be using my symmetry tool here. What kind of eyes does she have? Okay, just general way I normally do things, so that makes it nice and easy. And I gotta be careful not to make them too big, and I also kind of want them to be tilted back a little. Like, I don't want the head to have a strong tilt, but I want there to be a little bit. It makes the expression look a little bit more arrogant. These ones might be a little bit too wide, but I'll start here for now. Might also be... Actually, I think it's just that they're too short. Yeah, there we go. Her eyes are actually pretty big. Yes, they're actually quite big. For someone more on the cool end, I was a little bit surprised that her eyes were this huge. Yeah. Yeah. I think they're a little bit bigger proportionally than mine, even. And I always thought that mine were a little bit on the big side, just because with the way I draw, I tend to draw the eyes just a little bit big. Okay. Yeah, I think somewhere around here is gonna be a reasonable place to start. That's good for now. I'll plop in a nose. Want it to be a little bit higher than usual, just, again, head tilting back. And her face is actually quite squishy, so... maybe not that high, but... so somewhere around here. Yeah, I can get behind that. Okay. I'm just using black for now. The color doesn't really matter at the moment. I'm kind of concerning myself with posing and stuff for the moment. So I will worry about colors later. When it suits me. And I'm not gonna go overly strong on the perspective here. I kind of want to give the general impression. Like I said, her face is surprisingly squishy, so I'm trying to get those proportions right here. But man, especially with the way I draw things, I'm worried about making her look way too cute if I make it too squishy. Like, yes. She should definitely look cute. Maybe more than she would personally like. But there are limits. Okay. I'll start there. That seems fine. And I'm gonna put the hair on early. Oops. Not Hari. Hair. There we go. Just to... basically, when I look at her head here, when I'm thinking about the things that will show perspective the best, these little things, the antenna hair sitting on top of her head there and the headband, I think will show the tilt of her head extremely well. So I'd actually like to get those in fairly quickly. I see that I can't quite get that color from the little chain hairband there, but it shouldn't be too hard to pick a color from there. Okay, and then this is showing the veil thingy on the back, I guess? Yeah. Okay. Man, it's even showing where it's folded. I can't read this, though. my moon runes are not strong enough. I think that's... I'm actually not sure. There's something cover it. Coco de... yeah. So here is something. Probably something relating to how it's folded. And then a ribbon. I don't see the ribbon on that, so I'm guessing that the ribbon is on the back of the chain, and then this cloth bit covers it. So the ribbon is probably underneath. Okay, that makes sense. Anyway, back to what I was doing before I got distracted. So, let's see. Where exactly does this sit? Even here, it looks like it's actually kind of on the back of her head almost. No, it is sitting on the top. Okay. I never actually noticed she had little ribbon earrings, too. Yeah, they kind of blend in with her hair, so I never noticed them. The things you notice when you actually go to draw something. Okay. So... close to the middle. They do overlap very slightly in the middle, so, like... probably about here. And then, how big are they? They are much bigger than this. And I think they're going to be even larger than usual at this angle. I'll fill them in with the... Oh, I thought they were blue on the inside. Is that how it is on our different outfit then? That would make sense. Not satisfied with that angle. I'm not going to worry about getting this, like, totally correct for the time being. It's... They do not curve that way. Man, they really go out there, don't they? They don't even go on the side of her eyes at all. Okay. Again, things you notice when you actually go to draw something. But yeah, these go way the heck out here. Okay. Okay, and... Let's see, so there's going to be kind of a bit that goes downward a little bit more, and it... kind of near the bottom of where her neck is going to go. You know what? This is fine for now. I will leave it there. Let's get the little bit that's going to go on the inside here. Did I get the right color for it? Because the contrast looks much higher. Let me double check that. No, I definitely got the right color. Okay, good. Okay, maybe I just didn't get the right color for the inside. Okay. Mystery solved. Alright, so I just want to get the little lighter bits in there. It'll make it a bit easier to see. And at this angle, I do think that we will see less of, like, this part on the top. And we'll see more of this part underneath. That's just kind of what happens when you tilt your head back. And I'll worry about making things fold a little bit later. I'm just gonna call this hair antenna, actually. And because, yeah, there's like several layers to hair here. We've got the antennae, we got kind of the bangs here, and then the hair in the back. Which I may do on 2 layers as well, for the blue and the regular part. Okay, but for now, I would like to draw the headband. And, VTuber models being gloriously symmetrical, as that makes them easier to rig, means that I can continue with my hardcore symmetry here. So let's see. This is, according to the side view, not quite at the top of her head. It is... Or I should say not quite at, like, the crown part. It goes a little bit higher here. I'd say that, like, the highest point of her head is probably right here. So it's still kind of sitting there above her forehead, which makes sense. And then it'll wrap around into the back. Okay. Again, just kind of doing this to help me feel out the perspective. I'm starting with that now because I think the rest of the pose is going to be pretty straightforward, actually. Very symmetrical, which always makes things a little bit more straightforward. There's going to be a few places of asymmetry, especially in the legs. I kind of want one going forward. But, as always, I gotta get that initial stuff going. So that this way I can sanely actually draw everything. Okay. Mouth and expression, I think I'll do a little bit later. I kind of want to get the feel of the pose in first. But I will go ahead and draw the front hair. And just make her look a little less bald. Okay, so these are asymmetrical here. This is symmetrical. So the little bits of side hair that go over her eyes. How does that look exactly? And I see that the antenna has these little things that kind of come in as well. But I will probably draw those later. This is enough information for now. Kind of just over the corners. Okay. And then they curl, like, a lot. How far below the eyes? Bottom of the nose, roughly. Okay, so in theory I should make them go a little bit higher, but to be fair, I probably have the nose a little high. So I'll leave them here for now. And now I gotta turn off the symmetry for a little bit in order to get that kind of sweeping motion to the bangs, because they are not symmetrical. Where's the big one? Okay. The shape of the bangs makes a big difference in making things look like the character you're trying to draw whenever you're drawing a fan art, especially fan art of an anime character. So I try to match as close as I can. Does it overlap her eye? It is actually just above. I think I will probably draw it slightly overlapping here. Mostly to the head angle changes. I'm not actually sure if that's correct, but it feels right to me, so I'm gonna roll with it. Okay, and then the last one, kinda, just like barely touching there. Okay, and seeing how the little bits going down the side connects into all of this, I will make them a little thicker. Okay. And I think that's fine for now. I will worry about back hair and stuff later. I'm gonna go ahead and make a group for this. Okay, and I'm gonna pick a shadow color from the skin here. Just setting my brush to overlay, picking a dark, bright purple, and going from there. This is a little dark, but this is too light, so I'm gonna set my brush to soft light to kind of get somewhere in the middle. That's a little better. That should be fine. And I just like to plop a shadow color down here to use for the body. Right now, I think her face might be a little too squished. I'm not going to worry about proportions right now, but I do think that her face might be a little squished. I might need to do something just like... Oop. Something like that. I don't know yet, though, so I'm not going to worry about it. I kind of want to get the rest of the pose in here. Because I do think that this is showing what I want in terms of head angle. I might actually need to... Now that I zoom out and look, kind of want to push the hairband a little further back here. Something like that. Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense. And the reason that I was so focused on kind of thinking about the perspective of the head there was because I think it'll strongly affect the energy of everything else. So for those that have watched my previous drawings, you'll know that I tend to focus very heavily on just getting the right feeling at the beginning before I do anything even remotely resembling perspective. But here, the tilt of the head actually really, really mattered. for my conception of this. And I think that's why it's a little bit exaggerated here. And that's... I'll have to go back and fix it. But that's pretty much always true here. Okay. So let me see. I'm making the pose here in real life. Give me a moment just to figure out where I should put certain things. Because I have thoughts. And right now I'm trying to figure out where to put the hands. So unfortunately, I can't kind of do that and draw at the same time because I have to move my hands around. So just give me a moment here. Let's see. Where do I think the hand should go? I gotta feel it. Feel it in my own body. Okay, so probably about there. Feels like when I do it, I kind of line up with the bottom of the chin here. Maybe slightly lower, but... And then if I draw straight there... Probably elbow, like, here-ish. Okay. So somewhere in this realm of things. I'm trying to be a little bit more accurate with my anatomy at the beginning. Just because I do feel like I spent a lot of time going back to correct it. So I am trying. I am not sure how successful I will be. But I am trying. And indeed, her arms actually do feel a little bit long, don't they? Life is hard. Okay, I'm gonna draw it rather than use liquefy here because I'm trying to make everything very symmetrical. And the thing is with liquefy is that the symmetry tool does not work with it. So wish me luck. It's okay. I have found ways to be able to use liquefy properly with symmetry. Okay. I'm just not gonna worry about the chest area for now, but my god. That is so freaking skinny. I think I'm gonna make the proportions a little bit more how I usually draw them, which might result in a little bit of nerfing, but you know, it's okay. Hers are especially exaggerated. I'll put it like that. And I will try to keep the legs like super freaking long though. So I might need more height in this. I don't know if I want to include the feet. I'll draw what I can for now, and then I'll decide as I put in more things if I want either something a little bit higher or if I want to drastically alter how I am proportioning things. Okay. So kind of feeling it out here. I think that level of waist to hip ratio still kind of keeps the feeling without her, well, still making it look like she can have internal organs in her stomach. So I think that should be fine. Yeah, I think that looks pretty okay. I'm thinking about her shoulders. It's like the shoulders here are extremely narrow, which to be fair tends to be how I like to draw things. But at the same time, I don't really want her to look super childlike because I don't think it suits her. And whenever I draw shoulders super narrow, the character always looks a little bit more childlike. So I'm gonna have to think about that. I'll leave it here for now. Maybe I need to make her head bigger, I don't know. But fortunately, I have ways in Krita to center things. Okay, and this is where I'm gonna have a little bit of asymmetry again. So I'm gonna have one leg kind of going in front here. and doing something like that. And then the other one is going to kind of going back, and it'll show itself a little bit, like right here. But for the most part, it's going to be just in the back. I know what I'm going for. So yeah, if I want her full legs in here, which I might, I'm gonna need to make the image a little bit taller. Man, her legs are super skinny, though. See, this is kind of what I mean, is that a lot of the time, when you draw the anime, you can do whatever you want with the proportions. You can make it work if you do it right. I kind of want the leg to feel a little bit straighter than this. I just kind of want it to have a feel of one leg in front of the other. So, you know what? I think it's time. Let's make the canvas a little bit larger. Let's see. More height. How much bigger do I think I need? This might be a little bit too much, but I'll start here. Okay. So now I can kind of get what I was going for with feet. Actually, this is about the right amount of space. I might still need a little bit more depending on what I decide to do with the head. Just because I actually think I want her head a little bit lower on the canvas, so I do think I probably need another good 500 pixels down there, but I'll start here for now. And then I don't really want a lot of the other legs showing very much. I think it's just going to be something like this, and the other foot will just kind of be like right there. That looks pretty strong. Very basic, but like I said, it's going to be eventually, I want it to look more like a stained glass window. So it's fine. I do think I want her legs to be a little bit longer, though. Because, like, those are some long legs. And even mine, I think, are a little bit on the shorter side proportionally. So let's just go ahead and we'll resize the canvas again. Twitter is gonna hate this. Oh well. Okay. I guess this is where I'm gonna have to, like, do the thing where I post a zoomed in picture next to it. Anyway, let's get longer legs in there. There we go. God, that is a lot of leg. Okay. Maybe not that much. Maybe more around there. Okay. And now I'll push her down a little bit. Somewhere around here, and... Okay. So now it's time for some other thoughts that I've had. Actually, I don't symmetry tool for this. Okay. I don't quite know what I'm gonna do with all this yet, but I have a vague inclination of some basic shapes. And eventually I'll turn them into something. And I will probably also draw this weird headdress. Just because I think it has a very divine feel to it. And I kind of want that. So because I don't know what I'm doing right now, I'm just gonna draw the circle that I see in my head in white, and I will give it colors later. And I'm also considering whether or not the arms are too high. I have to think about it for a second, because the location of the arms here will affect the kind of energy. If I move them higher, for example, it'll... how do I describe this? I think it gets more an impression of here. Either look at this, have this, or, you know, I'm doing something. Or if it's lower, it's more look at me. And I want the lower one here. So, that's kind of what I'm thinking about. And I think I need her a little bit lower on the screen here, so that probably means I need to make this taller. And this is where, again, I'm not quite sure if I want to have her entire body in this, or if I want to cut it off, like, right around there, for example, and have it disappear behind something. What exactly? I don't know yet, but, you know, I'll figure it out. And I want the circle to be roughly centered on her head. I say roughly, but the reason I say roughly, like, man, I'm just going off on explanations here, is I don't want it to be dead center. I actually actively do not want it to be dead center. She's supposed to look high up on the canvas, and if it was dead center, she'd look low. So, I actually even think that it's a little bit too low. But there we go. It's, I think it'll be easier to explain if I draw where I plan on putting her eyes. So I'll go ahead and draw the gaze here. And then I will attempt to explain what I'm thinking again. And I'm just making a point to make sure I'm naming all my layers, because otherwise I will have a bad time later. I can't really pull the color from there, can I? Probably somewhere around here, maybe here. Kind of the steel blue, I think it should be good. So I do notice that her eyes are not perfectly round, and I think that's just because their eyes are tall. I might not be able to make her eyes perfectly round here, but I do like my perfectly round irises. They make me happy, so... well, we'll see if I decide to change them later. Okay, anywho, yes, vaguely looking down. And I feel like I'm slightly all over the place with explanations today, but to be fair, whenever I'm starting a new picture, there is just all kinds of things to talk about. Okay. So. I think even that's... let me angle them down just a little bit more. Okay. But yes, I want her to be looking down. And if she is too low on the screen, or has the feeling of being too low on the screen, the feeling of looking down will not be as strong. So that's why she can't be dead center. She must appear to be high on the screen. But if I pushed her down to dead center on this, she would suddenly feel a lot lower. And it's not even just that I pushed her down. If I did the same thing and raised the circle up without moving her at all, she still feels lower. Try to get that a little more centered here. So she still feels a bit lower. So if I want her to really give the impression of standing over everything, then she can't be too low on the screen. Or too low relative to this circle, even. In fact, I think she needs to be a touch higher. Okay. And that'll probably change slightly, because like I said, I don't think this head is correct. Gotta make it a little bigger, even. Okay. And I do think I want the arms to be a little bit lower. So that's actually a bit harder to do when I'm going for extreme symmetry like this. But I'll manage. Let me move the arms to their own layer. Right now I just have them on the same one, so I'm gonna kill one. Let me see. She wears gloves, right? Okay. Taking a look at the costume here. It's probably going to be about time to start drawing that soon. I don't want to leave it in this state for too long because I'm afraid YouTube's going to get mad. I don't want YouTube to get mad. Okay. So I will cut it off here. I have no idea if I want this layer to be on top or bottom. It doesn't really matter right now. Then I duplicate, layer, transform, mirror horizontally. And there we go. Got arms. So now I can just draw a rectangular marquee all the way across. And get the hands. And then decide where I want her hands to be. And I think having them slightly below the very center of the circle is about where I want them. Okay. Now then, I'm going to turn symmetry back on, and I'm just going to draw where the arms need to go, rather than use liquefy. They do need to go a little bit further to the center here. In order to get the lengths equal. Overdid it. That's okay. I'll fix it. So something like that. And let's just go ahead and start putting in some of the clothes. I still don't know how I'm going to handle her chest here. Because, my goodness. Alright. Normally that'd be where I start, so... yeah, I guess it's fine. I'll figure it out now. I like the pose. I think it's working, so this is a good time to try to figure out what to do here. Let me see, is that shading or is that another color? That is shading. Okay. So it looks like it's just a top that wraps around her neck, almost has a school uniform feel in the collar? That's the best way I can describe it? Okay. The side makes it look like it goes up way more than it does in the front. I think I'll listen to this a little bit more than that. It makes sense to me. Okay, I need to get rid of the circle while I draw this, so that this way I can really see what I'm doing. Where does this connect? Okay. I think I see what's going on here. Alright, alright. So this isn't going to be sure. This is like a detached collar. Whatever, it's fine. I'll figure it out. Anime character design, man. Nonsense in the best of times. But it's okay, it looks cool. And here it looks so triangular, but here it looks so flat. And here it looks like the ribbon connects it, but here it looks like it goes above the ribbon. Since I'm drawing her from a straight on view, I guess I should pay more attention to this, the front view. I think it'll look more accurate. I'll do my best. All right. So what I think it's doing is something like this. And then we have the ribbon kind of connecting it. And I'll draw the back later. That will probably get its own layer and stuff. But I think it's doing something like this. Kind of angles up here. I feel like it both simultaneously angles up there and it doesn't. So that's always interesting to try to quantify. Okay. I'm not going to draw the brooch, but I do want to get the ribbon in there just because I think it'll help with the rest of it. So we got ribbon probably connecting like right there. And it's a big ribbon. It goes almost all the way out to her shoulders. And I'm not worried about making how this all connects make sense. I just want it to look like it does here to an extent. Because I know that at some point it's going to get completely covered up by the brooch, and that's fine. Is that long enough? I think so. It's a little bit lower. I don't want her body to be moving upward quite as much. I mean, I guess her back is probably leaning back very, very slightly, but I want to keep it mostly forward facing. Okay. That's good enough for now. Okay. What do I do here? That's the real question, isn't it? Man. God, that feels long. Something like that, maybe? Probably fine for now. The two halves of the shirt here don't meet. Okay, and then I just kind of follow the shape of the waist here. And I think, let's see, it's not quite where it meets. I was gonna say, if I follow the angle there, I think that gets me pretty close to where it splits here. But I think it's actually a little bit higher than this. So I think it's actually like about here. Maybe a little bit lower than that. Separates. This will make more sense once I put some shading on it, but it's fine for now. So something like that. Something like that, and then I think this part needs to be slightly longer, but for the most part, it is fine. Just because I am making her waist a little bit longer than it is in her actual model. Just because, man, that waist is absolutely tiny. I might even need to make her hips a little wider, honestly. Let's do it. Man, that is just so much. I just don't want her to look fat. Like... I can't exaggerate these proportions as well as this artist can. And now I'm getting into asymmetry territory, so I'll turn off my symmetry here and kind of try to connect this. See if I can pull that off. It's okay. It's a good exercise for me. I do think that it needs to be a little bit higher. It's more like here, and then it kind of starts going in. Good Lord. Okay. Yeah, the widest part is in the leg, so I need it to continue out over here, I think. I mean, that's true of real life, too. The widest point of your body is indeed in your legs. I think it's true for both men and women, but I know it's definitely true for women. Yep, just at, like, the very, very top of the leg where it kind of connects into your hips. So I guess it's arguable in whether or not it's part of your hips or part of your leg. Okay. Let's see, that is, like, a slightly wider than her shoulders now. Is that where I want it, though? I'm just like, how the heck did he get the hips to be so wide but the legs to be so skinny? And not have it look completely mutant. Okay. And then just to fix up the legs again, just to make sure I'm doing it right. Okay, I think that's fine. Okay, I think I can feel pretty comfortable putting a skirt on that. I'll do that before I do the black part up here. I don't know what to call it other than the black part, because... I mean, I guess it's probably technically a shirt. Whereas this is more of a vest. Yeah, I guess I can call that a shirt. Maybe I will. On my layers as well. But yeah, the skirt is asymmetrical. This part, like... I don't think it actually covers her leg at all. Yeah, that seems correct. And then... this part would normally go straight down, but because her leg is coming a little bit forward, I'm gonna put it here. And then have it do something like this. Just follow the shape of her leg like that. So I think something like that is accurate. Did I make it long enough? Maybe just a little bit longer? The reason I'm asking is less... basically, I have to double check because I am changing the proportions in her body a little bit. So with the changes that I made, I wanted to double check and make sure that I am altering the length of certain parts relative to how I changed them. So that's why I said I think I need it to be just a little bit longer. Or maybe it's just personal taste, I don't know. I could go either way on that one. No, I kind of like it fanning out a little bit more here. It looks a little bit more impressive when it's fanning out, I think. Okay, so here I wanted to follow her hips extremely closely. And it looks like I was indeed already doing that, so that's fantastic. How does this look on the side here? Okay. So I think what I have is accurate. Let me just make sure that this is long enough. I think it is. That does look correct to me. Okay. I'm actually just gonna hold this black part. Okay. That this way I can just draw what I am calling a shirt. Here. But this part is now symmetrical again. So, symmetry tool back on. How does that work there? Okay, it looks like there is a top to the collar. It just is like right at the base of her neck. Yeah, and I can see it clearly on the side there where it is not quite rubbing up on her chin. So the way I want to draw it is probably something like this. Okay. Next. Do I wish to draw the leggings and shoes? I guess more accurately those would be socks. I think I'll hold off on that part for now until I get a little further in, just so I know how much of her legs and feet I want to be showing, because I'm still not quite sure. And it would be kind of a waste to draw all of the detail there if I'm not going to use it, especially since YouTube won't get mad at me for not making her wear socks. So we'll go ahead and leave it like that. Okay. And then I'm looking at this here, and the way it's drawn over here suggests that it is two-toned as opposed to shaded. So these dark parts aren't shade. They are literally just separate colors on the sleeve itself. Okay. I do not think I'm going to draw the pattern there. I'll call it metal. It looks metallic to me on this version. But I will go ahead and get the rest of it in for now. So let's see, where exactly does it connect? And is it tight around her arm? It doesn't really look like it's tight around her arm. Like if I were to follow the shape of her arm here, it's gonna go down here. So it looks like it might be tight here, but it is not here. So that means I kind of want to start it with a good amount of distance. And then... where is this? Is this the elbow? No, it's got to be above the elbow, right? Because let's see, this is probably the wrist. No, that can't be the wrist. The hands are down here. If I look at the back here, kind of connected up here, unless her hands are like super duper long, it's gonna... yeah, that's definitely not the wrist. Because let's see, the fingers are going to be about the same length as the hand. So it looks like even with the somewhat elongated proportions that are here, it does look like it connects like just above it, just before it gets to the narrowest part where it starts turning into a hand. So I'd say on my drawing, it'd be like here. And... interpretation, man! Sometimes it takes a second. Ew. But I do want to get a rough idea of where things sit. Oh yeah, and that's right. This white part doesn't actually completely cover her chest area. There's a little bit of shirt showing on the side. Okay, so this looks like it hits slightly above the elbow. So probably about here. And the reason I'm doing this measuring now is just so I can easily figure out where some of these points connect like this. Yeah, that doesn't look pointy enough. How exactly does this work? So it kind of comes out from here and then comes down. I'm gonna have to kind of make something up in order to make this actually look good with how I'm posing her arms, but go ahead and just pretend for now. Do your best. Okay, how does it look? Okay, so it goes all the way around there. So we'll get another big pointy part out there. Okay, that's not so bad. I think this is working. And I guess I'm still having it overlap at the elbow. I think that's fine. Okay, and then we get another similar shape down near the wrist. Yeah, it's doing about the same thing. Okay. So something like that, and then it is just sleeve, and it is a fairly tight. It gets looser as it gets close to this shape here. Okay. Maybe I should have used the other color. You know what? I think I'm gonna do that. Oh shoot, I drew this on the wrong layer. Okay, well, I can fix that easily. Okay. Say crisis averted. I noticed fast, so all is well. Okay, there we go. I can see him a little bit better now. I'll just stick with silhouettes for the time being. I think that's fine. Let's see. Should I be rolling it that way here? I think this actually needs to go this way. Oh yeah, that is so much better. Maybe not to that extreme, but yes. That is exactly what I needed to do. I think I want this to be just a little bit smaller. Just looking at it relative to this bigger part. And this one is, you know, clearly much larger than that there. And it's also a lot more top-heavy. Okay. I think that's fine for now. That, I think, does sum up the basics, and I will go ahead and turn her hands black. Looks like it is supposed to be about the same color as this, so I will just keep that. There we go. No need to just draw gloves on top of that. I'll just... They're tight gloves. I'll just... make her hands black. Okay. I see. I think. So, I'm thinking about the colors shown here, and the big thing I'm trying to tell this cuff, is it a different color from this? Or is this just in shadow? But, like, this is theoretically unshaded, so that suggests that it's just in shadow. Yeah. Or rather, it suggests that it's actually a different color. So, okay. I'll go ahead and get the different color here. We'll get the little cuff there. Okay, it is only open on the front there. So I think that would be on this side. And I do think this is supposed to partially cover the hand. So I'll draw it like that, I guess. And I'll draw a little bit there just so we can see the split, you know, where it kind of opens up. Okay, and then we have this frilly white part that covers even more of the hand. I'm not going to draw it especially neatly for now. And I might separate some of this into multiple layers at some point, but this is fine for now. I really hate managing layers, so I try to keep my layer stack simple, but it never works out. Okay, is that the gist of the upper body here? Mostly. I want to revisit over here. Just gonna take this in just a little bit. Erase the body accordingly. There we go. And then there's also just that it doesn't completely cover the front there, which is unfortunate because I was using that to kind of define it. So I better copy that over there with the body. Okay. So now I should be able to cut off the sides here a little. Okay, and then get back into my black parts, and how does that go over? Okay. Wraps around like this. I had the layer locked. There we go. Okay. So at least until I feel like drawing the rest of the ribbon and socks and stuff, that should be reasonably accurate. And I think, you know, it's probably the best I've done proportion-wise at the start in a long time, so I'm happy. I am happy and tired. Okay. Oops, no, not that way. I'm gonna push this up just a little, and then I think I need to make her head just like a little bit longer. Let's give her a mouth. What did I call this nose? I know I only drew a nose on it for now, but it wasn't just going to be the nose forever. Alright. So, I wanted it to be just mostly stoic looking. I'll give her some eyebrows too. Because this is where I think I should start thinking about the expression. Sometimes I do it sooner. Depends on how important it is for relative energy. And in this case, it actually really wasn't, which is unusual. Just because I did picture the facial expression being fairly neutral here. And just somewhat haughty. Okay, and then I can worry about things like the shape of the face. Right now I think it's a little bit too wide. And I guess I can start putting the rest of her hair on too. But so far so good, I'd say. So far so good. Alright. The reason that I had it drawn kind of like that before was just I was drawing a square initially, as I do, and I was thinking about how the perspective of the square would work. It just doesn't quite work out when what you're actually drawing is a head, because heads are kind of different. You know, go figure. Wow, she actually does show the side of her face there. I'm gonna have to draw ears. Well, shoot. I am not a fan of ears. I don't like drawing them. Right now, I do think she is looking just a little bit too cute. So I'll figure out how to fix that in a little bit. Probably the eyes. They might be too big. Although, no, her eyes are pretty dang massive. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's alright. It's my job to figure it out. So, I'll start feeling that out in a little bit here. And, let's see. I just want to make sure that I kind of have all of the rough shapes in her bangs okay. Like, I don't know. They feel really short. Her head isn't tilted back that far. So, okay. The answer probably is that the eyes are a little bit too big. Because that would affect the proportions on the bangs as well. So I'm just going to start feeling out facial proportions and stuff here. And anytime anything gets slightly off center, I'll just, you know, go back and center it. It's fine. Let's see. Okay. I'm just going to go back and start trying to work on the front hair again. It actually does not go that far down, does it? Oops. That's right. This is not symmetrical. It should look maybe a little bit shorter than usual due to the head angle, but not as much as it currently does. Right now, it is like definitely not right. And I gotta figure out why. And at least here I can use liquefy freely without having to worry about if I'm gonna make my life hard in a few minutes when I need to make it symmetrical again. Okay, and the side hair here needs to curve a little bit. Oh, but this part is symmetrical. Okay. Right now, this is not curved enough. So let's get that nice little curve in there. Those nice little curves are just always so important. And then I can worry about kind of the antenna bits coming off again. But I really want to make sure I get this front hair looking good. When it comes to the face, you cannot mess around. Everything must be perfect. So I will always give a little bit of extra attention to the face. And right now she's also looking a little cross-eyed. So that I'll fix at this point too, I think. There we go. That's curving nicely. I'm willing to bet that the original artist was able to do that in one stroke, but I very much can't. That is probably just how he draws curves. Let's see. I do feel like it's a little bit strong here. So let's pull just a little bit out here. And I'll pull a little bit in there. I know it's going to mess up one of my bangs there. That's okay. It is more important that I keep this symmetrical. So I'll go back and draw that again. And all will be well. Okay, is that low enough? Kind of lined up with the nose. Okay, yeah, that should be fine. I might have it a little bit too low. So now I'll start getting this little curve in. Okay. And it is that thin, so I think that should be fine. And I'm not too worried about how it looks like she's just like bald here. I think the hairline is probably doing something like this. So I'll be drawing the hair accordingly. But I think this part out here will be fixed once I fixed these little antenna hairs, because I think their angle is just too wide. They actually do go down quite steeply. I always talk about the angles, but this is one area where it's kind of important. Let's compare the angle on this versus on this. So what I messed up there was I was looking at the angle here, just here, and I followed this one. I followed it all the way out. But it gets steep, or it's like this, and then it gets even steeper. It just falls down. And that was the part I didn't draw. And that's why it's not covering the right places. So I will have to fix that, but that'll come a little bit later. Let's see here. I still want to finish the front bangs here. Where does this rightmost one cover relative to her eye? Almost on top of the corner of the eye there. So yeah, I have it about the right spot there. I think I wanted to cover a little bit due to the angle of the head, but not a lot. Just enough to kind of brush up on it. Okay, and then they don't meet up at the hairband, they meet lower down. Is it the same for the side hair here? Yes, yes. It meets like right up there. Okay. So now the same for the other side, where these two actually meet pretty far down. Which part of the eye does this go? Yeah, about the midpoint. And then just kind of tilts up. And then it connects with this last bit of side hair fairly high up here. There is a pretty good amount of distance between the eyebrow and this connection point. I just keep making that strand too thick. I think it might be because I'm not making this one thick enough. Yeah. It goes like straight up, whereas I tried to make it curved. And then the big middle one is less split here and more one big shape with a little cut into it. So I should draw accordingly. And then a little cut in there. And I think that is a better representation of that shape. But this still feels a little steep. Yes, just a little. This artist just draws hair very differently from me. So I'm trying to make the shapes line up more like how they're drawn on her. And to be fair, mine will line up a little bit higher up than on her model because her head is tilted back slightly. There we go. That looks a little bit better. Then this is like straight up, which will allow this to connect a little bit more over here and roll this way. Just kind of like this. And there we go. I think it'll be something like that. And then I'll just go ahead and, you know, make sure that all of her hair is on her head and all that important stuff. Okay, and let's get the headband on there. This one's kind of awkward because it needs to simultaneously be above and below the antenna hair here. Oh wait, no, I should be going back into symmetry now. There we go. Okay. So that should be good. I think before I fix the antenna hair, I'm actually going to draw her some ears. Because I'm going to have to do that for this one. A lot of the time I get to ignore them and just cover it up with hair, but I can't do that. I can't cheat. Life is hard. So she will actually get ears, and I will have to remember how to draw them. Fortunately, it looks like she kind of had mostly correctly proportioned ears. I mean, there's only so much you can do when the eyes are that big, but... Oh, man. It has been a little while since I have drawn a proper ear. And with her head angled down, they're going to be a little bit lower on the head than they normally would be. So I'm kind of adjusting accordingly. I guess something like this is fine. I don't know how to draw ears, man. Unironically, I don't. That's fine. That's fine for now. Let's do some antenna hair. Okay. So what I want to do, I am going to get rid of pretty much all of it for now. She will look very funny for just a little bit. And I will get that angle coming out here a little bit more correct. So we got the one going here, we got the one going down here. And these angles are going to flatten just a little bit. Right now they actually look like cute little dog ears. Okay. It's oddly adorable. Okay, but then they will flatten out and come this way. Okay, there we go. That looks a little bit more accurate, and they... Yeah, it goes like down to her shoulders. I think it does go a little bit further out here. Gotta feel out that right angle here. Actually, I got a cough. Give me just a moment. Phew. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. And then there's like another sharp turn out there. This is less of a turn and more of just a curve. So let's try to get that curve in. It kind of... Is this at about chin length? It's actually a little bit before chin length. Okay. So I should be starting it like up there. That's a bit too exaggerated, but I think the locations and stuff is correct, so I'll pare it back from here. And right now it doesn't have to be perfect, it's all good. But I think that's about right, and then we have another one that goes a little bit more straight down. And then just kind of curves in. That's a bit too much curve, but the location is correct, so I'll call it good. So something like that. I don't know, this still feels short. Yeah, I know why. It's going to be annoying to fix via selection tool, so I'm actually just going to redraw it. This needs to be further over. And I'm okay with some of this hair covering up her ears. I know technically it doesn't do it on our model, so that is a sign that I have a thing or two to fix. But, you know, it's fine. I can fix it. It's all good. But that does look a little bit more accurate now. I don't think it curves quite that high. So I'll take that back just a little. Okay, but that feels pretty accurate to me. Maybe this part just needs to come up a little bit higher. And thus this part as well. It's because that's some serious antenna, man. That is some serious antenna. Okay. And then I think the angle here is just a little bit sharper. Okay, there we go. And then I'd say that I think this part is actually a little bit longer, but I think that's correct with the way I have her head angled. Which would mean that I want these little things to be just a little bit shorter. There we go. Because with her head pushed back, this should bring like the big antenna hair forward a little bit, so it should bring it up. And then with the hair in the back here, for example, I'm going to make it a little bit longer than it is on the model here because her head is tilted back. So let's go get that back hair in now. I'm only going to draw the blue part for the time being. I'm not going to worry about the way it wraps around her head just yet. It doesn't really matter at this stage. Actually, it goes a bit straighter there. I'm starting to, you know, looking at other people's drawings this closely and actually making a point to draw them is making me realize some of my own habits when drawing things. Especially since we're in the midst of Inktober, where I'm having to draw something, you know, very frequently and also very quickly. So I'm actually kind of learning about how I do things and maybe certain habits that I'd be interested in fixing a little bit. Perhaps. And it looks like it's actually a little bit asymmetrical on the model, but I'm going to make it symmetrical on mine. For as much as I wanted to follow things very, very closely up here, I don't think I have to do so as I get further away from her face. Because, I mean, even though this isn't identical, I think it still has a very strong impression of her. And actually, I changed my mind on the height of the antenna. I think I want them to be a little bit shorter. Just angle of the head thing. And now I feel like her head is a little bit squat. So that is another thing I think is easy to fix. I just raise this up a little. But in raising that up, I think I need to lower these. So there we go. And then I just draw her hair back in, where it all needs to be, and all that good stuff. Now I have a little bit of extra room for her hairband too, which is nice. And a lot of this will probably look better once I put actual shading in. I haven't really felt like I've needed it, and the fact that I'm doing this in stained glass style means that I'm going to be having really unnatural shadows to begin with. So it's kind of nice not having to worry about it right now. Okay. How's she looking? You know, I think she's looking pretty okay. So, I guess I'm back to having to worry about composition again. I still don't know what colors I want to do for this, but I want it to be lighter. That much I know. And it'll also be nice and brightly colored and probably have some weird time shenaniganry associated with it. I don't know. I just realized that I haven't drawn the weird headdress yet. And I think I would like to. Oh man, it's like solid white on here, so I can't use solid white for this. A shame, man. Okay, I will use a... Well, let me get the color first. Let me hide the back circle a little longer. We'll get the color here. I think this is literally just white. Not quite, actually. It's not FFF. It's FAFAFA. But it's quite close. I also haven't drawn the veil thing, and I should do that. Oh well, let's draw the time headpiece. I've already gotten started on it. I guess technically I haven't, but I've gotten started on it in my head, and that's what actually matters. So how big is this relative to her head? Like about here, I think? This is too wide. Okay, hold on. I gotta fix something in her hair. Oh wait, I don't have my symmetry on. Well, I'm glad I caught that before bad things happened. They need to be pointier. There we go. Then I just carry out the angle here. Okay, and then I need to fix this little bit that comes out. Let's see, is this correct now? Actually, I don't think that's right either. Let me back up here. So yes, that needs to be pointier, but it also needs to angle down more. And I think that is what's throwing me off and why they are looking so much wider than they should. So I don't actually have to change quite as much as I thought I did. Always a nice feeling. Means I don't have nearly as much work to do. Okay, and here's also a point that kind of comes in and then out. So I want to capture that feeling. It makes the curve feel much more curvy. And then how does it curl back in? Okay, there we go. I think that feels a little bit more accurate to her. She's just... The shapes in her are very sharp. In her face, especially. So I want to kind of keep that feeling. And actually, I still don't think I have the angle on the top right. This is... I guess it's just because her neck is longer here than it is in mine. So it's making her hair look shorter. I do think I want it to be a little longer. And then this part, again, a little shorter. There we go. As always, you know, things near the face. I gotta get them right. It's very, very important. You don't mess around with the face. That's why even though I haven't drawn the timepiece or the veil going on behind her head, yeah, I gotta make sure I get all these things right. But I think this looks a lot better. It looks more like her, I think. The points are there, and they are there quite strongly now. I still think her head looks a little bit fat, though. So I'll try to get that a little bit better here. There we go. I'm just trying to get all these shapes right, and I might revisit the nose a little bit here. I think its location is fine, but man, I just hate the way it looks right now. And I think it's bad enough that it'll bother me. So that's the point where I actually start going, hey, I guess I'll fix this. Only if it will bother me and distract me from doing other, more important things. I've been worried about changing the shape of her jaw too much. I'm just afraid it'll make her look too cute. I don't want her to be... I want her to be cute, but not too cute. Okay, and this is... I just have to push the ears over, but I'm gonna have to do it manually, because I have to move in opposite directions. Okay. How many times do I click left? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. So now I click right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And thus, symmetry is retained. And I think her face looks a little better now. Okay, well, since I got distracted, I guess I'll go ahead and draw the veil thing before the weird timepiece, so here we go. So I'll go behind her hair. I'll do the bottom one first, and then I'll just put the top one on a layer behind it. How far down does it go anyway? Not showing there... I'd say about to the top of her chest. So probably somewhere around there. And then there'll be frilly bits, and actually I do think I want this in shadow immediately. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick a nice kind of gray purple here. And I will use that. Do I like that color? I don't know if I do or not. Normally I'd set my brush to multiply, but this is close enough to white that whatever I put down it's just going to end up that way, and I have mixed feelings about this color, so... I think this is a good shadow color for white. Let's go ahead and test it on her shirt. Something I'll want to do eventually, so... Maybe a little dark in that case. Let me lighten things up here. And I will try again. I'll just keep poking at it until I find a color I like there. I don't know, maybe I should do it here then. Put a bit more purple into it too. Okay, that's a pretty good color. And if I need a darker one, which I probably will, I can grab that in a little bit. Yeah, let's go ahead and grab that now. I'll just take the same color, set my brush to multiply, and I'll use that for my darker color, and that will be what I use for the shorter part of the veil. How far down does it go? It's not quite as long as her antenna hair, so probably right about here. There we go. So somewhere like that. I think that works. Alright, well, we'll go ahead and make it a little frilly. And that should be fine for now. I do see that there are like little holes cut into it. Just tiny little things. But it's not important right now, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'll go ahead and draw this thing finally. Phew! Okay, so we got the outer ring and then like an inner ring. I already determined that it is probably... I mean, this is what made me realize that I didn't have her hair pointy enough. When I was trying to put this thing on. So with her head tilted back, I kind of wanted a little further down. I think something like that is good. Let's go ahead and center that. Okay, and then the big part kind of coming off. The bigger one. Okay. So it looks like it's just sitting flat on the back of her head there. So with her head angled like this, where should I put the thing? Well, you know what? I'm just gonna make it. And I will figure out where it should go. In just a little bit. About how thick is that line? Not very. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna... Oops. Oh, I must have accidentally hit the selection. There we go. I'm gonna shrink the selection by about the number of pixels that I think it shows how thick this bit is. This bit here. How thick do I think you are? Let's see, if this canvas is 300 or 3000 pixels wide, I'd say it's probably a good 15. That might even be a little bit too thin. Yeah, I'll make it a little bit thicker. Maybe another 15. Okay. So now I can kind of decide where I want this to be sitting. Okay, so it is centered. So if it's sitting on the top of her head, where is the top of her head exactly? It's like right there. And if her head is tilted back slightly, should it be closer to the center bit, or which side should be closer to the center bit is probably the right way to say it. So I'm gonna look at this side view and tilt her head back in my mind's eye and see if I can understand kind of what this should look like. I think it'll be like this. I'm gonna test the other way just to see, but I think it'll be a little bit closer to this side. Looks good to me. Okay. So I'm gonna merge these two layers together, and I'm going to distort this a little to make it look like a proper halo. There we go. So now it should be sitting pretty firmly on the back of her head there. So now I have the hands. Okay. I'm going to keep those layers separated, but I'm going to put them together in a group. So this way I can move the whole thing together. Okay. Or, as the case may be for a while, hide all the pieces. Oh boy. Okay, so we got a really, really long second hand. The hour hand has 3 pipes. The minute hand, or no, the hour hand has 5 pipes. The minute hand has 3. Alright, I'm gonna get the longest center pipes in all of this, and I do believe that they are also just the same color. So I will just use the same color. And they are quite thin. I'd say that each pipe thing here is thinner than this. So I will leave this... If this was 30... then maybe 15 is accurate for these. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. And I think it's fine for this to go off screen. So I think the longest one is going to be like this. Let me get it sitting there right. I can rotate it if I need to. Let me see. I'm looking very, very closely at the angle there. Okay, then the next longest one is going to be right next to it. Maybe I should draw these on separate layers just so I can push them together as necessary. I'll merge them all at the end. Actually, it might be easier just to duplicate the layer here and move it accordingly. Right. Wrong one. There we go. Okay. And this way I can also grab my shadow color just right away. And I don't know. I think for now what I'm going to do is I'm going to alternate which bit is in shadow and which part is not, even though that doesn't, strictly speaking, make sense. but it'll make it easy to see. And I think that's what matters for the time being. Okay, so the next one. Next longest one is going to be that one. Actually, I think I made all of these too long. Okay. Now that I look at it, I think even the longest one isn't actually that much longer than this outer ring. Okay. That'll actually make my life a little bit easier. Because now I can see the ends. So it'll be a little bit shorter than that one. And then the next one will be a little bit shorter than this one. And the last one is pretty much right on the edge here. Okay, and now I can merge all of them together. Perfect. And now I can erase the excess. I don't want a ton of stuff. Alright. And I don't think that this is angled quite well. So I'm gonna turn it up a little bit and also make it a little bit wider. Okay, that's not working. I will turn it upward a little bit more, though. I'll find a different way to make it wider. That's definitely not it. No, that didn't really work either. Oh, that's unfortunate. I don't think I can use mesh. Mesh is going to curve it too much. Free is really the best I can do. Okay, maybe if I find a way to make it perfectly straight, or at least pretty dang close to perfectly straight, then maybe I can just make them just a little bit thicker here. Okay, and if I try to put it on like this, no, that's actually a little bit too thick. Maybe like right there. Oops. No, that's also a little bit too thick. Man, I actually wasn't that far off then. Okay, that's good. Maybe like here? I don't know, it just looks really thin compared to what I see there, relative to this circle. Did I miscount the number of pipes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, there's 5. So, I don't know, man. My eyes are just not on point, I guess. It's fine. Okay. that seems fine. I think I'm just gonna roll with this. And now I'll do the same thing again. Let's see, about how thick is this? I'll plop my brush onto the end here. And that'll help me determine how thick each line should be. Oh, one moment, I got another cough. There we go. There we go. Okay. Okay, so I should have a good size now. So let's see, this long pipe. It extends so that it is mostly outside here, as opposed to here where most of it was inside. So it is much longer. I would like to use the base color here. Is this long enough? Like I said, I think it's plausible that some of this might go off screen, and also fine. So I want to measure very carefully and very accurately. But I think this is actually correct. So it'll stay on screen. And I am fine with that too. Oh. For now, I would actually like this part to be on its own layer. Okay. Placing it very carefully. I think it actually angles a little bit further down. Okay, so something like that. Then this one I will color to be, oops, the shadow color. There we go, just so this way it's easy for me to differentiate them. So the next one will be like up here. And I want to make sure they're right next to each other there, so is that enough space? I think it needs a little bit more, just a little bit though. Okay, that's perfect. And now the last one is just a little bit shorter than this one. So probably like right about here. No, that's a little bit too long, or a little bit too short, rather. It's a little bit longer. Okay, that seems correct, so I'm gonna go merge them. I'll leave these two parts separate for now, and I'll combine them at some point. Okay. So next, let's get this big old golden second hand. It is a little bit thicker than the pipes, I'd say. So if about 17 was correct there, I think that this is going to be about 20. And I don't mind if it looks a little bit flat. This is stained glass look. Stained glass does tend to make things look a little bit flatter than you would in other types of art. So I don't actually feel the need to give the impression of three-dimensional stuff here. This is fine. Okay. So now I'm gonna put the circle back on. Okay, and you can actually kind of see it. And like I said, I don't know what color I want that circle to be. But I should at least know if I want it to be lighter or darker than her headpiece. So if it's gonna be lighter, it has to be white. But if it's darker, I've got a little bit more options. So I'm just thinking about value here, not color. I don't know what color I want it to be yet. I think I'd like it a little bit darker. It lets the headdress there look a little bit more like a halo. So, whatever it is, it'll be a little bit darker than white, and that's fortunate because it means I can actually make it colors. Instead of just solid white. Okay. I still don't quite know what I want to put back there. I gotta figure that out at some point. But for now, I think I'm just gonna draw her cape. So let's see, how does that... Where does that come out, actually? Underneath the collar there, okay. So that'll put it in front, or in front of the veil. What are you? Oh, okay. All right. So we're seeing the inside, so we get that lighter color. I can see that this part is lighter than this part. It also means I don't really have to draw a bunch of details, which is, you know, nice sometimes. Okay. Yes. Exactly. Hello there, Tito. But yes. I gotta have the very silly headdress there. And I do appreciate being able to make it look like a halo of some sort. She seemed like an excellent choice for making something that resembled a pseudo divinity. And that's what I felt like drawing. I like drawing stuff with kind of a religious feel, but not actually being religious. Stained glass is neat. Okay, so it'll come together behind her legs there. Kind of like this. How far out does it go anyway? I think that's about right, actually. Okay, and then I can get the rest when I feel like drawing the front part. I guess I can draw the front part. I might as well do that now. At some point, I'm gonna have to figure out the other elements. But I only had a vague conception of all this. So... it's okay, I'm just starting with the ideas that I did have and what I knew I wanted. Alright, let's get this wrapping around here. Oh man, now it's like almost heart-shaped, and that's like perfect. Suitably embarrassing. Let's do it. Okay. Alright, I'll worry about all the trim and stuff later. That's fine for now. I think that's good there. So this is normally when I'd worry about, you know, actually getting the rest of the design down, mostly in the shoes and socks area, but like I said, I don't actually know how much of her feet I'm gonna end up showing. I don't know how much of it is gonna be covered up, or if I'm gonna crop it out of the image still. So I guess I should figure that out. That seems important. I just have a very... Like I said, my thoughts here are still a little bit vague. And... it can be really hard to draw when the thoughts are vague. So I'm gonna have to think about that for a second. Let me gather my thoughts here, and then I'll start talking again. Okay, let's. I'm gonna try some shapes. Like, the big thing is that a lot of the time when I do patterns like this, I always want to make this big circular area sun-like, but I don't want it to be sun-like here. It needs to be time-like, and it has similar ideas, but I've already kind of got that around her head there. So I'm not quite sure what to do here. Oh, it just the reason I mentioned her lower body here is because, like I said, I might end up putting some stuff around it. So I don't know if I'm going to end up drawing... if anything I draw there will be showing, or if I'm going to crop it out of the image entirely. I still don't know. I do enjoy the leg pose, though. The leg pose looks very, I don't know, holier than thou. So, I might keep it, I don't know. I just needed that much space to figure out where the upper part of her legs were going to go. Okay, well, I do know that I probably want to do something like this. So let me grab my multi-brush here and... how do I center it? Because it would be really unfortunate for this not to be centered. Cause like... Humu. Oh, this is where things get awkward sometimes. Let me see. I do not have all these things in my group here. Let me go ahead and fix that real quick. Just gotta move them in here. There we go. Okay. So is this going to let me snap to center X? I don't trust it. Okay, only one thing I can do then. Let me see here. 12 is right, but I'm gonna take the regular brush for now. I'm gonna make the tiniest of tiny dots. Just plop it there, I guess, and then I'm gonna center it in the circle. Because I have a little plugin that lets me do that, and now here's hoping I can get this centered on that. There's got to be a better way to do this, but Man, I don't know what it is. Actually, you know what? I should look that up. Give me just a sec here. Center origin. Yeah, because I really don't want my origin to be off here. It's like when I am doing something as constructed as stained glass, I really, really, really want to be accurate. Okay. Yeah, I'd really like it to be super precise. Okay, so it may not be possible, which would be unfortunate. Okay. So I'll just get it as accurate as I possibly can, I suppose. But if I get real close to the pixels here, I can see each and every one and try to get that box, like, as centered as I can. That looks like about as good as I'm gonna get. So I'll have to call that good. Okay. So here's hoping that it's good enough. Oh shoot, I hit the wrong button. There we go. It should be fine though. So where are you? Here we are. Okay, I will keep it. So we got 12, and now I should be able to make little marks. And I want the rotation to be none. So 0. Got 12. Gonna go ahead and stick it to the center there, and there we go. So I should be able to make something clock-like with this. I don't know what color I want anything to be yet. What shape do I think suits this? Probably triangles. She's very pointy. Yeah, pretty much everything about her is like super triangular. Like, this is a triangle, and we've got a triangle in there. Triangles, triangles, hair's a triangle. This is even a triangle. Yeah. Triangles it is! Alright. And so that'll make all of this. That'll make all of this. Just all the way across. So I should be able to get a pattern like this, and I think that'll be cool for a stained glass pattern. So I just got to decide how big I want this to be, and that kind of thing. And I only kind of know what I want it to look like. There's no way I'm going to be figuring out the entire background today, but I can at least get started, and then by Monday, hopefully, I will know where I want to take this. I wasn't expecting to finish drawing her so fast. Like, I know I'm far from having everything fully rendered or anything, but, I don't know. And everything came together pretty well today. And I had a better idea of what I wanted the pose to be than I thought I did, which is always nice. So I'll probably go take a look at her stream overlays and stuff again throughout the years and grab some inspiration from those. Maybe do some other things to help kind of give a mood. And probably do something with snakes too. I mean, any excuse to draw a snake is a good one in my opinion, but with a name like Ouro, there's got to be some Ouroboros referencing in there. So I'll probably go with something like that. But for now, I'm just going to take my sweet time and getting this triangle to look extra nice and pointy. So I can just take as long as I want here. I should probably... Well, no, I can't. I actually can't use the line tool here. Because only the brush tool can get the kind of symmetry that I want. The line tool can only get me horizontal symmetry. Okay, that's pretty good. And then what I think I want to do... Man, I wish I could use the line tool for this, but I kinda... want a straight line going from here. I mean... True. I just got all my commentary about the proportions out at the beginning. I already made the legs significantly longer than I normally do, and I'm just like, holy cow. This artist is a wizard. I don't know how he managed to get the proportions like that and not make her look mutant. Man, I wish I could just do a straight line here, but... The one function that I miss from Photoshop is the ability to hold shift while you're drawing a line and make it straight. That is like the one thing that Krita does not have that I wish it did. Oh god, I'm never gonna be able to draw this straight enough, am I? Oh well, I'll do my best. Look, this is where I always go back to that thing where anytime somebody likes to claim that they can't draw, they're always like, I'm so bad at drawing, I can't even draw a straight line. And I'm just like, you and me both, buddy. Drawing straight lines is hard, okay? It is really, really hard. That's why people invented rulers. Or I guess it's not why they invented rulers, but it's why we use rulers to draw straight lines. Who the heck can freehand that stuff? It's not possible. But so many people have said that to me, and I'm just like, man, you're giving up on drawing because you can't draw, like, the hardest thing? Now you're gonna tell me that you can't draw because you don't know how to draw a horse. Or, I don't know... Some of the weird fractals out there. Alright, but at least this one is going, like, perfectly straight up and down, so I can tell I'm on the right track by looking at the aliasing. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna zoom in super close, and I'm I don't know, maybe I should get a pixel brush for this. And I can just eliminate all traces of things there. Why? I mean, there's lots of reasons to cough, though. Doesn't always mean drugs. Well, it's fine. I can hardly blame people for enjoying teasing her. She's definitely the type that makes it very easy to do. Okay. Oh look, it looks like I'm about halfway up. Yay. I'd say that this part is mostly going to be covered up, but I don't actually think that's the case. It's like, this particular line that I'm drawing will be, but all the reflections going out everywhere will probably not be. They will probably show, and this is the easiest point to get this all covered up. Or to get this drawn correctly, I should say. So I might as well just be a ridiculous perfectionist right now. I can see it. What I'm gonna end up going for is stained glass. I have a stained glass style that I've been wanting to do more experiments with. So she seemed like a very, very good target. And after the thing that I drew on day 3 of Inktober, I was like, you know what? I kind of want to draw that for real, except better. So let's pick a VTuber that works well with it. So hopefully it'll all start making sense once I actually start putting in a lot of those elements. Today was largely just figuring out the pose and making sure that all my proportions and stuff were correct, but I actually got them okay pretty quickly. At least relative to how long it normally takes. So I'm happy. And now I really need to figure out the background, and I've got a little bit of extra time, so I'll probably start doing that, and if I have nothing better to do, I might even start drawing hands today. Just because I do think that the pose of the hands are going to matter here. Like, whether or not it's a more relaxed, curved finger hand pose, or if I want the fingers to be all stretched out, I haven't actually decided yet. Could go either way, so I'll probably mess around with that a bit, but right now I've still got a few ideas for this thing going on here. I don't really know what color I want for all of this yet, so I'll just do it all in black and white and put the colors on later, but oh man, I'm almost there. And I will be so sad if that origin point is slightly off-center. After doing all this. I really, really tried my best to set it right, so hopefully it's all good. Watching Snowflake Symmetry when you can actually see all the points here is really cool. Look at them all. Look how many lines I'm drawing just by drawing one. great. I think I'm actually going wide here, so let's straighten this out just a little there. But this is the point that will definitely all be covered up. The middle is like right behind her. But there we go. Yeah, I think I can get behind that. And I guess I'll put some numbers on it. Let's get some Roman numerals in here. I'll keep everything on separate layers for now, just because I'm scared. Okay, so... Okay. I had to remember how clocks worked for a second. Alright. Because I'm like, yeah, it's 12 at the top, right? But it's been a while since I've actually looked at, like, a real clock and not just a digital thing on my computer. Oh no, I need to use my mouse. Here we are. I'll center this in a second. Okay. Actually, it's probably easier just to use the magic wand. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to make this part look nice. I don't dare move my symmetry off the middle. Well, no, I lied. It's totally safe because I'm doing it directly in the center. So I should be able to center it here and then get this bottom part the exact right length. Just perfectly mirrored. Okay. And then flip it vertically. Get it the length I would like it to be. I think I have it a little too tall, so I'll put it like here. And then I just get rid of the excess before I merge it. There we go. Okay, and now I can try to center this thing. Let's see how well it does. Oh, that's centered, huh? Centered to the current selection. I guess it's very confused because it's triangular. Oh, that's fine. I'll just do it manually. Okay, and then I'm gonna keep this one unchanged. Just so I have a thing to grab for all the other ones. Okay. That should be good. Let's see here. Okay. And I guess I just go around until I have to draw the thing for the V. We'll do Roman numerals because I always find using Roman numerals is slightly more pretentious than using anything else. So that seems perfect. And I'm just doing my best to get this all placed nicely because when I'm drawing inorganic things like this, I do like to try to be a little bit more methodical and mechanical about my approach. Okay. And she's in the way again, so I already know that part of this one shows, so I want to make sure to get it in well. But after a while, I'm probably gonna care less, because I know that certain parts will be covered up by her, and there's just no point in spending a bunch of time trying to get that right when I don't have to. But it's just gonna be covered up anyway. Okay. So the next one shows pretty much in its entirety. This one doesn't at all. But I'd say the rest at least have a little bit going. So 6 I won't have to draw at all, but the rest I should. Okay. Let's draw the V. So I want it to be about the same height as this. I'm gonna bring this guy over here just for a height comparison. I did make a new layer, right? Where did I put it? The you? No, you're the 3. You know, I should label these. Because otherwise I'm going to be hunting for, like, all eternity. Okay, there we go. So I didn't make a new layer. Fair enough. Okay. So I'm gonna make this line a little bit longer than I ordinarily would, just so I have plenty of room to cut it down to size. All right. I should just... There we go. Actually, you know what? I'm going to cut it down to size first. So in that case, I should draw my V. Okay. So I kind of want the bottom of it to just be sitting there. That's fine. Internet can be as distracted as it wants. I just want to draw things. I know people will always pay attention to internet drama, unfortunately. But I'm certainly not going to let that stop me from making the things I want. Okay, that should be good. Okay, and now I can get this all shaved down to size. I drew that the same layer, didn't I? Well, shoot. That's unfortunate. Okay. I think this still looks good, so I'm gonna go ahead and just cut it out. Good, I cut that out pretty dang accurately, so my life will be easy. I guess I'll go ahead and refill in that area in just a sec here. So, how wide are you? Okay, that should be about right. Here's hoping. Fingers crossed. I made it a little bit too narrow, but I think I will still be okay. Alright, gonna line it up here. Okay, that should be accurate. And now... think I'm actually just going to push this down one. Okay, so now I trim the excess, and I can call it good. Perfect. Okay. Okay, so that's definitely good enough. So for 4, I want the 5, or the one to come before the 5. So that'll be, I bring this guy over here. I guess he'll sit somewhere over here. I think this angle's about right. Gonna put them together because I want to merge them down later. And there we go. I might have to make it a little smaller. We'll see. I'm gonna try to keep them the same size. If I can. At least this part will be nice and easy. Because here I just copy one and I just plop it down and all is well. And Krita wanted to do a 3D transform for some reason. I've never been able to figure out how to, or why it sometimes does that. I don't know exactly what I click in order to make that happen. I've never really used the feature much. Okay. So I know that for some of these, I already kind of have to go all the way to the edge in order to have enough space. So I'm gonna try to line them all up based on that. So let me go revisit my 1 and 2. Just pull them a little further back here. Just try to get this relatively consistent here. Oh ho. Well, I mean, that's kind of how it is with internet drama. It's like I'm only vaguely aware because there's that many people talking about it, I guess. I'm just like, man, who cares? It's too much work to worry about this stuff. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can cheat. I'm gonna take my 4, duplicate it, and mirror it horizontally. So close. But it's okay. It just needs to come down here. But I do think that I have the things in the right spot. So once... flop it over here. Should be good. And this one I get to skip entirely. Okay, so this is where things get interesting, because I am, like, out of space. I made my numbers a little bit too big. Actually, you know what I should do? This means I'm gonna have to redo some stuff that I just did, but I should make this thinner. You know, that's gonna be so much better. So let's do 4 and 5 again. Just because I do want them to be about the same size. Actually, no, even that's not gonna quite work. It will, I just need to do it better. So what I'm gonna do, gonna get my center mirror here again. I'm going to get my brush the right size. That looks about right. And I'm just gonna draw the line again. Oh, I have it set to erase right now. Whoops. There we go. 18, I thought looked right. Okay. Like I said, I enjoy being precise for these man-made things. I just think it makes them look really, really nice. Okay. So I just wanted to get that the same width as the other lines. It looks like it's a little bit thicker, but I think it's appropriate, so I'm not going to go back and fix it. But it's not, like, noticeably thinner anymore. And yeah, getting clock-based things on here is taking long enough that it will take me the rest of the day, I think. Or the rest of today's stream. But I'm okay with that. It'll mean that I have all of tomorrow to think about what I want to do for the rest. So hopefully I will be able to just jump right into doing the rest of the background on Monday. Because this is what I plan to do on for the Monday, Thursday, Saturday slot. Yeah, now I should very easily be able to fit in all the things with the 5. Heck yeah. And I can just do the same thing I did last time. And then I'll get the 5. I'll get the 5 in there. Try to center it a little bit. I'm just eyeballing the center. I think my eyeball is close enough. So I'm not gonna worry about it too much. No, you're not. You are 6. 4, 5, 6. You're supposed to be 7. Okay. I'll do 5 first, I guess. I swear I know how to count. I even like math. as probably evidenced by how I try to use it to draw things like this and actually measure and whatnot. Even though I'm here saying my eyeball is probably close enough. I stand by that statement, but no, I do in fact like math. It's just math is hard. So it is what it is. Alright, let's get another 1 out here. So this way I can make a proper 7. Okay, there we go. Now I just center it a little better again, and then panic at what I'm gonna do for 8. Alright, well, I'll do my best. Maybe I'll cheat and make it just a tiny bit smaller. Small enough that maybe no one will notice. And I am insisting on remaking it from scratch because I am worried that if I rotate each of these too much, that the pixels will get blurry. And I don't really like, especially when I have super sharp, crisp edges like this, I don't like it when the edges of certain areas get blurry. So that's a perfectionist thing, but frankly, it doesn't take that long to make one of these from scratch. Because once I get the angle of one piece of it right, the rest comes really easily. Dear Lord. Okay, well, I gotta find a way to fit this in there. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm gonna have to make it a little smaller. I don't think there's a way around it, but I'll do it as little as possible. And I think it's fine for a little bit to hang out. I don't think that's noticeably smaller than the rest, so I think I'm okay. I'm just gonna do 9 now. Oh, good idea. I should definitely try that sometime. Alright, let's move the 5 over there. Let's see, so base 10. And once again, I'll make it a little bit longer. Okay, so somewhere in there, and then I guess I'll shave off the edges now. Just so I know where to actually put the X. Okay. So, like, from here... Why aren't you drawing? There we go. Okay, that should be good. Put its hat on. Where's my 1? Okay. This way I can get the height correct. Now they are about the same height, and I am satisfied. Alright, let's merge that all together. Perfect. Alright, and I'll scooch these guys over, so this way I have a little bit of space, and there's only a couple more left. Yay! Okay, so I want it before, so this side, get the 1. Okay. There we go. And now I can get this rotated right relative to the area it fills, and there's a 9. And 10 is easy. It's nice to have the occasional easy one. 11 will also be easy, so that is also nice. Okay, there's 10. So can I just mirror this vertically and get what I want here? Sure can. Awesome. Okay. Phew, one more. One more. This is going to be 11, and I will put it in order there, just so it's easy to find. And last one. And this one I don't even have to rotate. You know, when I came into doing this today, this is not what I thought I'd be doing. But, you know, I'm pretty okay with this. I think it looks good. Okay, and I'll go ahead and hide the bases. This one it looks like I will also have to make very, very slightly smaller. Okay. And next time I'll figure out where I'm going with this. But I think that's where I will stop for today. I have some ideas. I just need to kind of figure out the rest. Okay, but yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with the progress for today, especially considering that today I just did not really feel like drawing. It happens occasionally, especially when I've been doing speed paints for, you know, over a week. Speed paints are hard. Inktober is hard. So for those of you joining me in that, good luck. Keep doing your best, and I hope you enjoyed today's drawing. It's not especially well drawn, but it's especially stupid. So hopefully that makes up for it. No, I refuse. Anyway, I will stop here for today. But I will not take it easy. I will do what I want. Anyway, thank you all for coming. And I hope you're able to make something wonderful today. I will see you all tomorrow.